Small towns are the heart of America. The people, the stories, the history, and the leaders who help guide the direction of the community. But how often do we really get to hear directly from the people making decisions that affect our everyday lives? Welcome back to Small Town Big Talk KP Style, the podcast where we talk about the people, stories, and conversations happening right here in our community. I'm your host, Kristen, and today's episode is a special one. Today, we're sitting down with someone who plays a major role in the future of Galesburg, someone whose job is to make decisions that affect our streets, our neighborhoods, and our community as a whole. So today, we're talking about leadership, the challenges our city faces, and what the future of Galesburg might look like. Joining me today is the mayor of Galesburg, Mr. Peter Schwartzman. Hello, sir.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. Sounds like fun.
I'm very, 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 very happy that you're here. I'm happy that you took time to meet with me, and the people are excited. People are excited, and they want to know what you have to say. So if you don't mind me asking you some questions.
Please.
We'll start you on the warm-up.
Yes. Stretcher.
Yes. So for people who may not know you well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm just a regular old guy, although, people think otherwise, sometimes good and bad. I grew up on the East Coast. I was born in Providence, Rhode Island, and spent my high school days in Northern Virginia. Then I went to school in California, and then I went back to school in Virginia. And then, of course, I landed a job at Knox College in 1998. And so that's what brought me to Galesburg. And I'm very happy to be here. I've been here since then. I've raised my two children here. They're both now graduated from the high school, doing more education. And just been very fortunate to be an elected official in Galesburg for the last 15 years.
That's awesome. So you've been here since 98.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And did you love it when you first got here?
I did, actually. I mean, I didn't know Galesburg, right? So Galesburg to me was a new place, but I was really, the first year or two, I was really dedicated to my teaching because I hadn't really done much. Mm-hmm. And so I had to come up with new courses. All the courses I've taught at Knox are courses that I created, sometimes with the help of other professors, team teaching. But so that was a lot of work the first 2 years. And so I don't know how much of Galesburg I actually got to know in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
But certainly when I had my first daughter in 2003, that changed a lot of things, changed my whole perspective on this city. And I realized this young lady is going to grow up in this city, and I better be more engaged with the city in order to protect her and provide her the best upbringing possible. And what I learned after getting more engaged was, Galesburg has a ton to offer. And I mean, obviously some young people don't have access to it or are not making it available. But my daughters have been extremely fortunate to grow up here, and they're doing wonderfully beyond here. And who knows, maybe they'll come back and stay. It's hard to know.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. What made you want to run for mayor?
Well, I was a city councilor for 10 years, and I had, it's an important position for Ward 5. And I had seen some good things happen, but I thought the trajectory we were on was not sound. We were going to flood Lake Story, mm-hmm. and as it turns out, the lawyers told us we couldn't do it, but some members of our council and the mayor at the time thought it was still possible. At that point, I thought it was a complete waste of money, and I wasn't in favor of it. We also were turning people's water off during COVID, mm-hmm. which I thought was just inhumane and immoral. And some of the councilors agreed, but the mayor at the time did not. And so it was okay, it's either I'm all in or all out in a way. I mean, it's one thing to be a council member when you're kind of in the majority and you and the city manager and the mayor are kind of on the same page, and you might have difference of opinion, but you get your input and things are modified accordingly. But when you're the minority member of the council and you send things to the mayor and you get no response, and the other councilors look at you like you're you're lost. That's really frustrating. And I thought, based on my conversations with lots of people, because having daughters here, I interacted with lots of young parents.
Yeah.
Through the college and my connections there, I met a lot of people. And I'm also, I was doing farming in the community. I was doing
Wow.
I was doing the farmers market stuff. So I was interacting with a lot of different people, and I felt like I had a better feel for maybe what the people wanted, and I wasn't seeing that reflected at the council. And I was like, something's wrong. So let me put the two to a test. Let's see. Let me run against this two-time mayor whose name is very well known. Galesburg, don't need to repeat it.
Right.
And who owns the radio station, who's very well known. His family's well known. His family's done a lot of things in Galesburg. And let me just put my name out there and see what happens. But I knew that in order to have any chance,
right,
I was going to have to go door to door and really connect with everyday people. And I walked and walked and walked. I walked like, I think, 38 straight days.
Are you serious?
And it was a test, because it was during February, March into a little bit of April, and those days are cold, and the weather, and I was walking through, some miserable weather, but nonetheless, I tried to hit every corner of Galesburg. Obviously, I didn't knock on every door, but I hit a lot of them, and I met a lot of people, and every time as the deadline approached, April, I forget the date, but it was April 6th maybe of 2021. It was right, COVID was still active and people were getting vaccinations at that point, but people were still a little fearful about contact and such. So, when I knocked on doors, I kept my space and stuff, and I tried to figure out ways to reduce contact. But I just kept hearing over and over some of the similar things, like people, from one neighborhood, another neighborhood had similar desires. They were frustrated with certain things government was doing. And I felt like, okay, this makes sense. Like, so if you guys vote, I'm probably going to win, because there were two people on the ballot, and the mayor at the time, he was the other one, and he had been mayor 8 years. And some of the things that people are mad about were things that he was endorsing. And so I'm thinking, okay, now he outspent me. I don't even know what it was at that point, probably 3 to 4 to 1. Okay. The last election, this past April, he outspent me like 15 to 1. But once again, I knocked on doors. I know people. I connect with people. I'm, you may be surprised that I accepted this interview, but I'm happy to sit down with anybody. And I appreciate what you're doing. I mean, I think Galesburg has a lot to be proud of. Not just, we make mistakes. We've made mistakes. There's things there's some dark past as well. But, in terms of where we're headed and acknowledging some of the great things people have done in Galesburg across race, across class, across different things. I mean, we should celebrate those.
Sure.
And anyone who's going to help move that needle, let's do it. Like, I want to be 100% involved. I thought, some people say, well, I had all these great ideas. No, I don't think that's not why I ran for mayor. What I think I felt honestly was, we need somebody in that position who's listening to the people.
Yep. Okay.
And I didn't think the mayor at the time was. And so I could, in a sense, guarantee that, because if I'm that person, I have one phone. I'm very visible on the internet. People can reach me, and I'll answer anybody's call, and I'll meet with anybody who wants to meet with me. And that's but it's to me, it's important. It's like, and that can be done in a small town. Like, back to your point, I think small town is very special. Like, I grew up in a bigger city, like near Washington, D.C. I mean, even though my city might have 100,000 and this city has 30,000, it's night and day. Like, in that city, I could walk around town and I would know 90% of the people there. Here, I walk around town, I know probably half the people here.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing. And I never saw the mayor when I was growing up. I never see them out walking around, going to the grocery store, going to a ball game, these kinds of things. I love that aspect of our community. And so, I feel I won by, I think, 7 or 8 points. And given I was the underdog, and I kind of surprised a few people, including a lot of my friends. Yeah. I think it convinced me, or I guess what's the better word? It reaffirmed what I believed in Galesburg, that the people really do have kind of a positive outlook on the future, even though, right, you get on the internet, you can see all this negative stuff. Yeah, there's that in every community.
Yeah.
But, when I go to the ball games, when I go to the farmer's market, when I go to Orpheum, when I go downtown just to have a burger or whatever, I'm meeting people and seeing people and having conversations with regular people. And those people, some people say, oh, that's ridiculous. Like the dude has an advanced degree, he teaches at a college, blah, 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 blah. But obviously I value education, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been very fortunate. I mean, a plumber, like I don't know how to do plumb. I don't know how to do that stuff. Mm-hmm. So when my toilet goes sour or south, I got to call a plumber, and that person lives in Galesburg, and that person's going to come and hopefully come quickly and do honest work and get an honest pay. Mm-hmm. And that person also probably raising kids in Galesburg, right? Probably grew up here, maybe not, maybe came from a different area.
Yeah.
They have something to contribute to the conversation. They live here, they pay their taxes, they, all the above, right? My voice, because I have in higher education, is not louder or better than theirs. It's we all have to get along. And I think that's a lesson that we have to listen to really hard. I said it at the last council meeting. There's a lot of tension in our society right now, globally. But locally, we have to focus on what we have in common.
Yeah.
If we do that, we're going to be a better, healthier community.
Yeah.
If we get into that tension struggle, and we went through that a little bit a couple of years ago. You might recall with some of the council members maybe ran because they didn't like me or they're getting back at me or something.
Yeah.
And that was ridiculous. Okay. We get along pretty well now. I think our council, we have 7 counselors. I think I'm on speaking terms with every single one of them. They know how to reach me. I'll sit down and talk with any of them. If they have ideas, I'm all ears. We have to lift our community up as a united front. If we do that, we're going to be successful. If we are divisive and we're fighting and pulling like tug of war within our own community,
it's not going to get anywhere.
We go nowhere. And in fact, it reflects very poorly outside of Galesburg. People are looking for, honestly, harmonious places to live.